10:25. Ronn Owens, U.S. Senator Barack Obama. By the way, you said you don't know everything, so if you don't become president, you could be a talk show host. That works too.
Well, I was a lawyer before I was a politician, so the key to being a good lawyer is pretending like you know everything, even though you don't know much.
Now, you do know the difference between a rooster and a lawyer.
What's that?
Well, a rooster clucks defiance. Alan in San Jose, Barack Obama, Ronn Owens, KGL.
Hi there. It is really cool to be talking to the next president.
It is.
And one of the things I actually admire about you is your position on 8th grade graduations.
You heard about that. Ron may not be familiar. I gave a speech a while back, and I said to folks, why are we doing all this cap and gown hoopla for an 8th grade graduation? Kids these days, they're going to need a college education to get a job. We're giving them a false sense of accomplishment when we tell them how wonderful they are to get out of 8th grade.
You got two girls, 5 and 8. You just wait. You're going to have a preschool graduation.
Well, even worse. So my attitude was, you know what? You shake their hand, you say congratulations, and then get your butt into the library and start preparing for 9th grade.
I wanted to say that because I think it's kind of a funny story. I think you made that comment at an 8th grade graduation.
I did, actually.
Anyway, the comment that I had is I see public discourse these days as being portrayed as either flip-floppers or stay-the-course type people, and neither one of those is particularly flattering. And I think what a lot of times politicians, as they go on and on and on, create these positions that they're sort of forced to take, which force them either into a position or into a flip-flopper.
Right.
And it seems to me that new blood and people that have less political baggage have the opportunity to create bigger ideas, not narrower positions. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think some of your biggest ideas will be, or the areas that you'll affect biggest changes in?
Well, first of all, one of the things you said, which I think is really interesting, is this whole idea of either your stay the course type of mind like George Bush, or your flip flopper.
Then I'm flip flop.
You're
flip flop because you'll change your mind.
Well, look, one of the ways of curing this, though, is I think to try to be in a conversation with the American people where they can see your thought process. And one of the things that I try to do is if I'm thinking about an issue, whether it's Iraq or healthcare or what have you, I'll describe to people, here's how I'm thinking about it. Here are the issues that I'm trying to weigh and balance. And a lot of times when I have town hall meetings in Illinois, I'll ask people, I'll say, look, you guys want to eliminate the estate tax. It'll cost $1 trillion. We can borrow $1 trillion from the Chinese. We can raise taxes on the 99% of people who don't pay the estate tax, or we can cut programs for $1 trillion. Which ones should we cut? And you get in that conversation with people, and suddenly people, having gone through that thought process with you, may come to a different conclusion than if they just saw a soundbite. Now, in terms of what big ideas that I'm interested in my book, I focus on a couple of areas that I think we really have to grapple with. The healthcare system is a huge drain on our economy right now. And my basic philosophy is that we should be able, as much money as we're spending, to provide healthcare to every American. Does it have to be Canadian style, a single-payer plan? I think that's going to be difficult to achieve, but they're doing some interesting work right now in Massachusetts where they've essentially created a big pool that everybody can buy into. And they've created essentially a system that's just like auto insurance. You've got to buy health insurance of some sort. And if you can't afford it, we'll provide you a subsidy. But that way, there's one big pool, you're negotiating with insurers, and you can impose some cost controls over that system, and it's actually has the potential of working on the national level. And I think that would be something that would be interesting to explore. Energy is the second area where I'm spending a lot of time and a lot of attention. We spend $800 million a day sending money to some of the most hostile nations on earth, Iran, Venezuela, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have a Manhattan Project around energy that would produce alternative fuels, improve the performance of hybrids and plug-in hybrids, enhance ethanol. Right now we use corn-based ethanol, but there's the potential for what's called cellulosic ethanol, which would be extremely efficient. Investing in that right now would pay not only huge dividends in terms of our economy and our national security, but also would help deal with what I consider to be a genuine problem, and that is the problem of climate change. So those are just two areas where I think domestically, if we put in a lot of time and effort and energy over the next couple of years, we'd see huge dividends.
But we talked off the air, and I mentioned in 1980 I voted for John Anderson because his whole idea was put at that time it was 25 cents, some even thought 50 cent tax on gasoline.
Right.
Had we done that, we would be energy independent.
We'd be in much better shape. And look, we'd be in better shape. And ironically, Detroit would be in better shape if we had steadily improved fuel efficiency standards. There was some of you guys saw the article yesterday. Ford Motor Company is going to lose $8 billion this quarter. They think next quarter is going to be even worse. And the reason is because U.S. automakers decided we're going to put all our stock in SUVs. That's where they were making their profits. They didn't develop the technologies to build good, fuel-efficient family cars. And now you've got a situation where they're just having their heads handed to them by Japanese automakers.
And I'd also point out Detroit would be in better shape if Chris Carpenter didn't pitch as good a game as he did last night.
He was impressive.
By the way, one question, because people always worry about the honesty and the integrity of politicians. So I'm going to ask you point blank.
Yeah.
You get into the White House within the first 90 days. I get a one-on-one in the White House with you.
Where do you want it? Right in the Oval Office, or
in the Oval Office?
I'm not prepared to make that commitment, Ron. I'm going to see how the rest.
I'm not going to let you off the hook.
I'm going to see how the rest of this interview goes.
Are you? Now, wait a minute.
And if you throw me a bunch of softball questions, then you may get the
not
interview.
A chance. Nope, not a chance. Here. Now let me explain to you how this thing works here. You got a book, right? And they're going to be book signings and all that?
That's right.
And it's nice to meet the people and sell the books and all that?
Right.
Want me to mention it?
Well, the...
No,
unless you're
don't
turning the mic off, it's called the...
It's called I Expect the Answer by 11 o'clock, and I expect it to be the right one. Here's the latest in news with John Bristow.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, right?